Welcome in, everybody. We got week 3 reactions and takeaways. We're going to start it off here with some news. Myles Garrett has suffered a shoulder sprain and a bicep strain into that one car accident on Monday yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw the video of him on the side of the road. That looked pretty tough on him.
Shirt all torn up and everything.
Yeah. The car looked absolutely wrecked. I don't know how he didn't get hurt more. Just a quick little note here. The Bills have just signed cornerback and former Viking Xavier Rhodes to a contract. Now, back to the news. All right, and then we got Sterling Shepard tore his ACL. He was just finishing the route as if the player was somewhere else, and he tore his ACL. It looked pretty bad and painful. DeAndre Swift has suffered a shoulder sprain. Is not expected to require surgery, but he is probably week to week. Quarterback Mac Jones has suffered a high ankle sprain pending MRI, potentially headed to the IR. Dalvin Cook has dislocated his shoulder again, and he'll probably wear that harness again, maybe, against the Saints. As everyone knows, he plays pretty good when he wears the harness, especially against the Saints. And then we got Tampa Bay might not play Tampa Bay this weekend because of the hurricane. Some spots they could potentially go is move Minnesota to play there or play in New Orleans for a neutral spot. Anything you want to talk about?
Why is Minnesota one of the options?
It's one of the teams that's playing away this week.
Yeah.
But why New Orleans too? Because wouldn't the Vikings be playing in New Orleans?
No, they're playing in London.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, probably New Orleans.
Do either of you ever remember any of this happening where because of a hurricane they have to play at a neutral site? Like I know last year New Orleans and Green Bay played in Jacksonville because there was a hurricane that hit New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
But out of all my years of watching the NFL, I don't ever remember this happening until the last 2 years.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure it's happened elsewhere.
Yeah.
We just don't remember.
People were complaining. They're like, how about you just play it in Kansas City? Well, you can't really. It needs to be a neutral spot. You can't just, here you go, here's another home game for you because there's a hurricane.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I personally think that Minnesota would be a great spot because I don't know. I don't think New Orleans was supposed to get any of the hurricane issues, but might as well just stay far from it.
Mm.
So we will start out with Thursday night football, Browns and Steelers.
Boring game.
Yeah.
I was happy to see Jacoby Brissett play well. And the Chubb Hub rises again.
Potential catch of the year, too, George Pickens.
If Pickens' catch was a touchdown, probably would have beat OBJ's catch, but it's got to be a TD. It's got to be a long bomb TD.
Yeah.
I think it's only a matter of time before Trubisky inevitably plays his way to the bench.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's got to get his shot at some point here.
So as well as Ryan Tannehill played pretty decent. Let's go to that game. Do you think there could be another rookie takeover later in the season?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I kind of want it to happen.
I think everyone does, especially the Titans fans. I mean, even I want it to happen. I'm a Colts fan. I absolutely despise the Titans.
Well, I think especially what we've seen from Derrick Henry so far this year, it's like the last year was the end of the run for Tennessee.
Right.
And
Literally.
that was their last chance to make something happen with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. So I think it's just time to move along with the process. Maybe even consider moving on from Derrick Henry in the offseason. But yeah, I don't think Tennessee's going to go hardly anywhere.
Connor, what do you think his worth is?
I don't know if anybody would trade for him. You might just have to cut him loose and hope that, the cap savings you get is enough. Last I checked, it doesn't look like they'd save a ton of money from cutting him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what they could do is they could say, hey, we'll pay for the rest of his contract if you give us like a second round pick or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's kind of a tough situation for them
Indeed.
to throw a bunch of money at a superstar running back and then a mediocre quarterback. So I think we're seeing the end of that there.
All right, now we got the Bengals at the New York Jets.
Let's just say I think Zach Wilson coming back is really what this team needs. I don't think that they can continue on much longer with the Joe Flacco show. I mean, looking at the stats, the box score in front of me, Joe Flacco threw for 52 times. You don't really want somebody of Joe Flacco's caliber to throw the football 52 times in a game. So I think, other than the field goal fest that was the New York Jets offense, I think they are going to be really happy to get Zach Wilson back in the next couple weeks.
Agreed.
Breece Hall was looking pretty good too. I think he'll take over that spot, number one RB spot, as we continue to go throughout the season.
We got Tyler Conklin emerging as the true number one tight end. My guy, Tyler Conklin. And then Garrett Wilson, too. He caught 6 balls on 10 targets. He got 60 yards.
Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
I think this team has got a pretty bright future. I guess we'll just see how far they can go with Zach Wilson. But it looks like the rest of the team is going to be there by next season. So hopefully he can fulfill the promise that was made when he was drafted of him being the second best quarterback in that draft class.
So we got Bills at Miami Dolphins, where the Bills could just not get it done in the final seconds. They did not get out of bounds.
How about those box scores, though? I mean, it's insane. The Bills had 497 yards of total offense compared to the Dolphins. Looks like they only had 212. And somehow Miami walks away with the win at home.
Shows that Miami's got more of an electric offense.
Yeah.
I think Miami's insane. I didn't think very highly of them coming into the season, but I think they're really showing that they have the firepower to compete with the best team. I mean, they always used to say good defense beats a good offense. Well, I think in this case we saw that an electrifying offense will beat even the best defenses.
You think Teddy's going to do good filling the shoes?
I think he'll do okay. I mean, he doesn't have to do too much. He's just got to, drive the bus. They're giving him a Ferrari, basically. So as long as he doesn't crash the Ferrari, I think Miami will be okay.
Yeah, I think they can win that game.
I think out of all the teams Teddy's played for, I think this is the best fit for him.
And he's a game manager too, so I mean, he's maybe not going to be slinging the ball deep to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but maybe they can change up their offense a little bit to get them more involved in the short game and try to have them bust off some big ones by doing that. So I think there's ways to work around it. Just hope that the Dolphins can continue on even without Tua.
All right, next up we got the New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers.
I think we got a couple of bad football teams right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. No. Well, Jameis was slinging the rock, but again, those interceptions really cost them.
Olave had another good game too.
Yeah, he was insane. I'm telling you guys, rookie of the year right there.
I think that's very possible. I mean, 13 targets, 9 catches, 147 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And then how about we can talk about Traquan Smith a little bit? 5 targets, 4 catches, 105 yards. He caught a ball that was 48 yards long. Looks like New Orleans receiving core had a really good game. Of course, Jameis Winston had a lot of yards. He also threw the ball a ton, and he had a couple giveaways. So,
how was Kamara's performance? I thought it was a disappointing.
Yeah, it was 15 carries, 61 yards, 4.1 average.
You like to see him break a couple off.
I might be right about this. I don't think Kamara's going to do that well this year.
But it might just be a slow year. You never know.
Yeah.
Things can happen. How about Baker? I think he needs to start eating his words. He is not performing like this program wants him to.
He hasn't showed me anything so far.
No, 12 catches for 25 attempts, 170 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's like, I mean, they gave it to McCaffrey 25 times. I don't know. I feel like if you got 25 carries, you should have more than 100 yards.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest
NFL standard.
Biggest thing from this game was like the takeaways and then also the penalties. The Saints had 7 penalties and they also had 3 turnovers.
Right.
So if you lose the turnover battle and you also lose the penalty battle, it's not going to be too good of a day for you most of the time.
If you look at the stats overall, the Saints dominating the offensive performance besides the rushing yards, but I mean they were just balling except for the interceptions.
So we got the Baltimore Ravens at New England Patriots. This was most of my time spent for the 12 o'clock slot. It was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I think we all predict this that the Ravens were going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baltimore's a good team.
Lamar Jackson looking like the MVP again. I'm loving it.
Hey, how about I know the Patriots lost, but Ramondre Stevenson, look at you. I mean, yeah, he's doing a 1-2 punch roll with Damian Harris, splitting the reps, but he got his touches and he made immense of it. So good for him.
Devontae Parker looked pretty good too. Little breakout for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he played very well.
How about this offense for Baltimore though? This is back-to-back weeks where they put up numbers in the high 30s.
Mm-hmm.
They're just incredible. I mean, like you said, Riley, to your point, Lamar Jackson playing like the MVP. I think it's very possible that he wins it again.
I think we find a case that Lamar's in the top 5 for rushing this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
He kind of has to be the rushing threat for this team. Just looking at how the other balls were distributed on the ground. So Lamar Jackson had 11 carries for 107 yards. And Justice Hill got 6 carries.
Yeah,
J.K. Dobbins, 7 carries.
Justice Hill, like if you watch that game, he looked way better than that. I don't know. J.K. Dobbins wasn't involved that much. I mean, he had 1 more carry, but it looked like Justice Hill was that guy.
Yeah, Justice Hill, he averaged 10 yards a carry, so I know it's just 6 carries, but he was grounding and pounding it.
I think J.K. Dobbins might still be getting kind of worked into after his injury that he had last year. I mean, this was his first game that he played this season.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of bizarre because the Ravens, the past few years, we're 3-4 deep at running back. And now, surprise, Lamar Jackson is our only running game. It kind of reminds me of last year's Bills team.
The Bills were primarily heavy on the pass game, and then they just had Josh Allen scramble out of the pocket. Where this offense is actually designed for running.
That's true.
But I don't know. I don't know. Lamar's so effective in both passing and running.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Next game up, we got Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings, and the Lions contain Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson has been contained for the second straight week.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that the Vikings came and did their job. I know they lost the game on a what was the last minute or last second play, right? Last second touchdown. But
Yeah, the Lions.
yeah, the Lions came and fought hard.
Yeah.
I just want to point out Jeff Okudah, former third overall pick, who's been hurt pretty much first couple of years of his career.
Mm-hmm.
He put the clamps on Justin Jefferson along with the help of a couple other teammates, but good for Jeff Okudah to actually get some playing time, make a difference.
Cause this game just shows that like stats don't mean everything in the game of football. Like they do not tell the entire story. The Lions literally dominate on every single category. Total yards, passing yards, rushing yards, yards per play. I mean, not yards per play, but this still the yards is still more than the Vikings. But yeah, I think the Lions are a good team, and I think they have a lot to prove yet.
Next up, we got the Eagles at the Commanders, and the stands did not fall on Jalen Hurts this time.
You know,
That's
I thought this game was gonna go another direction, but wow,
That's pretty much what I expected.
oh my gosh, Carson Wentz.
never even close.
What's that?
This game was just never even close.
Yeah, Carson Wentz didn't do anything. Neither did the running backs. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this game.
Strip
Good
away
job.
the records, I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
Quite possibly, yeah. I don't want to give it to them yet, but it's...
I don't
Almost
know.
have
They only
to.
scored 24 points.
Did they play Tampa Bay at all this year? I know they played Green Bay.
They scored 24 last week too, didn't they? Or was it 25?
Yeah, it was 24. I think it was 24. I'm pretty sure it was 24. Let me check.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Okay.
So they gave up one more point this week, and they scored the same amount. So
I don't know.
good performance.
And they're playing. They're playing okay teams,
Yeah.
but it's only week 3, so it's like can't really tell.
All right, Brain will be happy about this one.
Aha!
Chiefs lost to the Colts by 3 points.
I know they were at home. Okay, I know they were at home, but I'm telling you, the Colts are a good team. Okay, it just every single year it takes them at least 3 to 5 games to get up and rolling. I'm telling you, they are contenders every single year. They have the pieces to make it happen, even with their starters out. They have the pieces to make it happen. They have the coaches. They have very good. They have a very good front office. They have everything you need to win a championship.
Well, it's a good thing they got the Jaguar game out of the way first. Then.
Yep.
That's
a curse. That's straight curse.
Can you tell us which starters are injured? I'm just curious.
I don't think Devin played, did he?
What's that?
I think Pittman might have been inactive.
No, maybe. No, he was playing. Michael Pittman was playing. I think
Oh, yep. He caught 8 balls.
Shaquille Leonard or Darius Leonard
Oh yeah.
was out. Who else? Who else was that? I don't remember.
All right. Texans in Chicago playing the Bears. I thought the Texans had this one, but ultimately not.
You thought who had this one? The
I thought
Texans?
the Texans. Yeah.
Nah. It's Soldier
Maybe
Field at
Bears
home.
are good.
I got the Bears all the way.
It was close.
It was.
This game has a bit of a stench to it, almost like 2 top 5 teams, top 5 picking teams in the draft next season.
I agree. But Justin.
Awful.
Is Justin Fields the guy? And I don't know if it's too early to tell, but is he the guy?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
To me, there's not a chance. I mean, so this game, he threw the ball 17 times, completed 8 passes. They're not trusting him enough to throw the ball even. I mean, they trust him to run it a little bit, but he doesn't ever throw the ball because they don't want him to. They're like, let's just run the ball as much as we possibly can.
What
Who
about
does he throw to? Because I think Darnell Mooney had only one catch.
Mooney didn't actually. None of his.
Mooney and Cole Kmet, and then Equanimous St. Brown had a catch.
He's just spreading the ball.
Yeah, Mooney only had 2. That's not good.
I mean, if you think about it, there's only 8 completions to go around, so
It's like what happened to Allen Robinson last year, but then Darnell Mooney became the guy.
the Bears this year are like such a throwback team. This is the type of team that you would have seen in like the 80s or 90s. Like we're only going to throw the
85
ball.
Bears, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
The best team ever.
We're going to throw the ball like 15 times. We're going to run it a ton and hope that our defense can win the game for us.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, how about Khalil Herbert? Oh, my gosh. After the injury of David Montgomery, way to step up. Yeah. 20 rushes for 157 yards, 7.8 for an average and 2 tutties. Very good, very good.
I like Khalil Herbert. I think he's a pretty good running back.
Yeah, not just the running game, the passing game too. He's a very good athlete.
And he's got a couple catches in there too. Good for the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
One that we completely had off. Jaguars and Chargers at SoFi Stadium.
Well, I don't know if you would say had like completely off because, I mean, yeah, Herbert was injured, right? He
played.
I know he played, but like he was hurting all week.
He wasn't the same guy.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have won if they just went with Chase Daniel?
No.
No, they wouldn't have. But I think playing Daniel would have healed Herbert for the next week to come, and now he's probably hurting even more.
I think they might have done a little better with Daniel in the game, but we're talking about last week. We were basically discussing how we didn't think a quarterback matchup would matter in the game, but we were going to say that the Chargers would win no matter what. In this case, it didn't matter, but the Chargers lost big time.
Trevor Lawrence played out of his mind, though. 3 touchdown passes, 262 yards. It's a heck of a game from.
He threw that baby. Yeah, he threw that baby 39 times. Easy to say he's the guy.
That's the kind of stat line you see if somebody's trailing in a game. So didn't see much action from that game, but to me, it looks like the Jaguars never let off the throttle at all, and they just kept on throwing the ball.
Right.
Yeah, I was watching some of that game. The Chargers were completely out of it. Complete opposite for the Jaguars. They looked locked in.
What do you guys think about ETN?
I don't know.
I think he's more of like a receiving back.
I don't think he was worth a first-round pick.
Definitely not. I think that was a waste of a pick. But whatever.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
We got the Rams at the Cardinals next up.
Okay, I thought this game was going to be a blowout, but I talked to Riley about this before we started. I think the Rams are having a, what did you call it?
The hangover.
Yeah, hangover year.
Super Bowl hangover.
Yep.
I don't think the Rams have that good of a roster anymore. They're paying so much to just a handful of guys that they got some scrubs that might be on somebody else's practice squad playing for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just the aftermath.
I feel like they might all be satisfied with the Super Bowl. I feel like the only one who probably still wants to keep going is probably Cup.
Yeah, I mean, Donald threatened to retire last year, so I don't think that he's sitting there, thinking, "No, I need to do this again." I mean, Aaron Donald, when it's all said and done, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's already a Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
So I don't think it matters as much to him.
All right. Packers in Tampa Bay playing the Buccaneers.
What a crummy game.
Yeah.
I agree. Even just watching it, I felt the misery in the stadium, and I wasn't even there. I felt like a crummy game.
Yeah,
Riley,
we thought this game would be not decided by the passing and decided by the running, but it was decided by the defense.
yeah, Riley, you and I had talked about this last week in our predictions episode. Both teams ran the ball poorly. I mean, Tampa Bay had 34 yards on the ground. Just not a good offensive day for either team.
That offense might be in some trouble.
I think both of these teams. So let's talk about the last three teams here from the last two games that we just talked about: Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and Los Angeles. None of them look promising at all. I mean, if you compare them to like some of the wild card teams from the AFC, I think they're pretty comparable. I just don't think that any of these teams are really wanting to take it, and none of them look good. Tom Brady looks like he doesn't want to be there. Aaron Rodgers is always frustrated with his receivers. I just don't know what to make of any of these teams. I mean,
I don't know.
Even with his elbow.
I'm with you. I don't even know what to make of any of the teams in the league, because we have two teams that are undefeated, where in years past we probably still have like 6 or 8 teams that are undefeated right now.
But then we only got 2 teams without a win, so it's just
that too
so crazy.
Yeah.
It's usually I wouldn't predict. I wouldn't make assumptions about teams on overall, but that's just a booster in my thoughts, because I still can't identify any of the teams right now. The best teams in the NFL to me right now are the Ravens and the Eagles for the AFC and the NFC.
Yeah, I think the Ravens have the identity to themselves.
I keep on going into each week thinking, okay, this week's going to give me some clarity. I end up walking away more confused than when it all started. So, which is what makes it so much fun to cover the sport. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, we thought that the Jaguars would lose. I thought it'd be close. I didn't never envision that they'd just boat race the heck out of the Chargers in Los Angeles. I mean, what a week.
Yeah.
All right. Now we got Atlanta Falcons in Seattle versus the Seahawks. They finally decided to get the ball to Kyle Pitts, and it paid off. I think we talked about that quote from Arthur Smith, who said, this isn't about fantasy football. We're just trying to win. And he was winless when he said that. But I don't know what podcast it was, but they said, what are the chances that Arthur Smith was playing against Kyle Pitts in fantasy football? And he didn't want to use him until he was done playing against him. And they said this last week, and Kyle Pitts got usage this week. I just think that was really funny.
It's always
You know,
possible.
yeah. You know who I think would look really good in Atlanta's unis? I think Jimmy Garoppolo would look very good. And
Yeah, that's possible.
not to discredit Marcus Mariota, because for his role right now, he's actually playing pretty decent. I think him and Jameis, I know they're back-to-back picks from the same draft, 2015, but he's not playing bad. He's doing his job. And how about Cordell Patterson? Oh my Lord, 141 yards on the ground and a touchdown.
He's
Yeah.
just
That-
open.
That
Yeah.
was a career high.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't catch the ball much, but you don't really need to when you do have that kind of performance on the ground.
Yeah.
Geno Smith is still actually throwing the ball pretty well. I mean, of course, some of his stats are probably inflated from trailing in some games, but he's still, I believe he has the highest completion percentage in the league at 77%.
How do you guys feel about Rashad Penny?
I think he's
No.
okay.
Not a big fan.
I think he's a solid back. I don't think he's a starter.
I think they
But-
should start riding Kenneth Walker.
I
Yeah.
agree.
All right, so we got 49ers playing in Denver. Pretty boring game here. And Jimmy G pulled off the
Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
He freed Dan Orlovsky from his misery.
This is just such a boring game.
Well, okay. Here's another topic that we can bring up. The Miami and Buffalo game also freed the butt fumble for Mark Sanchez
Yeah.
with the butt punt that ended up being a safety.
I'm surprised
Almo-
Dalvin Cook escaped being ridiculed for also butt fumbling in that Vikings-Lions game. He ran into the back of Ezra Cleveland and just dropped the ball.
Lots of mistakes this weekend. Lots of comical mistakes. Let's put it that way. But what I found funny about this game in that scenario is that it was prime time. And the entire nation, maybe not nation, but the entire world was watching Jimmy Garoppolo stutter in the back of the end zone and then throwing a pick while already causing a safety for his team.
Yeah, he just plain didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah. And I saw a video of him lip syncing, or not lip syncing, but his lips were moving. The person who posted it was like, "Hey man, your plays suck." That's what they were saying. His lips were saying, but oh, whatever.
So let's get into this. I want to say how I think the Raiders are a better team than the Denver Broncos, and I think the Denver Broncos are one of the worst teams in the NFL.
All right. You might want, if I put my 2 cents in, or the reason why. I think the Broncos are one of the worst teams in the NFL because they could barely beat one of the 2 worst teams in the NFL, the Seahawks and the Houston Texans.
I mean, if you look at Denver's record, though, they're still 2-1. I think with the
But
Raiders,
statistically speaking, what are they showing? Even in the highlight reel, what are they showing? What's so special about them? The offense isn't doing anything.
I don't think Denver is really a special team at all. I think they're just finding ways to get it done, as weird as it may seem. Because their whole deal of bringing in Russell Wilson, right, was to carry the offense. They're going to have this great offense. their defense has been incredible for some reason. And I mean, they won 11-10. That's just such a strange score. But yeah, I mean, I still think when it's all said and done, I mean, we'll find out this week because they're playing each other. But I still think the Broncos are superior to the Raiders, and they both still have buffoons of head coaches.
I'm gonna. I don't want to go out on a limb here, but I think Josh McDaniels. I'd rather have Josh McDaniels as my coach than Nathaniel Hackett. I know Josh McDaniels isn't the brightest dude, but I'd rather have him.
Here's my thing. I think they both should be fired.
You're probably right. I
Even though
I can live with that statement.
The entire Broncos fan base hates Nathaniel Hackett, and somehow he still won 2 games. It doesn't make any sense. Like how is Denver winning these games? It can't be all luck.
His roster stacked, maybe. I don't know.
I don't get it.
I think Jerry Jeudy is one of the most underrated receivers. So is Cortland Sutton.
I don't know. Jerry Jeudy looked pretty bad in that game.
He's just getting off an injury.
I think he had like 2 drops at least, and one of them he was wide open 40 yards downfield.
Mm-hmm. That's the Justin Herbert situation. He's not feeling himself.
We'll see. All right, and then we'll finish up here with the Monday Night Football.
Ah, yes.
And I just want to talk about the Giants' offensive line. It looks awful. Poor Daniel Jones looked like Trevor Lawrence week 1, just absolutely running for his life. He couldn't do absolutely anything. They had, I think it was 25 pressures against Daniel Jones that entire game.
In that one game alone?
Yeah.
That's a doozy. So he was pressured 25 times, and he still only was sacked 5 times.
Yeah.
I guess that would explain the 9 rushing attempts for 79 yards.
All right. Can we both agree that the Giants are not a good team? Or all agree?
I think they've overperformed so far, but
I still think they got it in them. I think maybe the offensive line could clean it up. They got to do better than that. It's got to be the worst they'll perform this year.
I think they're a young and growing team.
I don't know if they'll be in the playoffs, but they're definitely not the Giants of years past.
No, I don't think they'll be in the playoffs this year. Maybe in the next 2 years, but not this year. But hey, Cooper Rush, baby. He did what he needed to do to get crap done.
It was Cooper clutch. We did see it.
Indeed.
What's Dallas gonna do once Dak Prescott comes back?
Send him to I don't even know.
It could be next week, they said.
Send him down south to Houston.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Houston's in the AFC, so it wouldn't really hurt them. How about Saquon? I know he only had 81 yards, but he's been playing pretty good.
Yeah.
He's carrying that Giants offense at this point.
Mm-hmm. I don't know right now. I think it's too early to say comeback player of the year, but he certainly, statistically speaking, is looking like that guy.
All right. Shall we wrap it up here?
Yeah, we want to do a call in the week quick.
Yeah. I'm curious to see. I think Connor and I have the same one. How about you, Brayden?
I think I actually might change mine.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it?
So let me take you to the NFC North battle that took place in Minneapolis over the weekend. The Lions and the Vikings. I'm not going to complain about the calls the officials made I'm going to complain about how they delivered it. So John Hussey, the man who would make the calls on TV for all to hear, was stumbling over his words every single time he went to go make the call. And then time after time again, a flag would be thrown and he would go and pick it up. So I'm going to give this to the entire officiating crew in Minnesota over the weekend. They are my clown of the week.
I'm going to give it to Jimmy G. Unfortunately, I don't want to do this, but come on, man. How do you not, like, I don't even know what to say. How do you do that? You know you're at, like, inside the 5. I think it was at the 1 yard line. That's just crazy. I don't know how you do that.
Very bad awareness.
My clown of the week is Kyle Shanahan. And the reason being is, why would you put your quarterback in that situation?
That's a valid point.
I played quarterback. I know I wasn't at a high level, and it was in a totally different offense. This is JV football, but it is not fun when you're put under pressure, especially in that situation, under the lights, prime time, at the 1 yard line, inches away, and you call a play action pass on second down. Just run the football. You're a running team. Run the football and get as many yards as you can. And if you have to, punt the football. Like, come on. Why would you even risk that? That's all I got.
If you do decide to punt the ball, though, just make sure you don't punt it into the back of your personal protector.
At Miami.
All right, is that all we got?
Yep.
All right, well, we will be back again this week with our predictions for week 4. So we are on multiple platforms now, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, and YouTube. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, let everyone know about us. We're even on TikTok now, so
Woo!
BCR Podcast. See you guys later.